So Irma is here, specifically between 8 p.m. and midnight tonight. Things are going to start to get very real, and then from midnight till about noon tomorrow, it's going to be real. And then there will be weather that will continue thereafter, and Angie will update you here shortly on the specifics. You should be in your home or your shelter at this point in time. Please stay off the roads. Do not go outside to take pictures and sightsee and see what's interesting. There will be flooding. Flooding's already started in some areas. I saw some just a couple of hours ago. Flooding can be very dangerous. If you are in a place where you don't feel safe at this point, get to a shelter right now. We still have a lot of capacity at the shelters, so leave now. Be there by 8 o'clock tonight, please, for your own safety. 40 to 60 mile per hour winds, gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour for 12 hours. That's a long time for the city to take a beating. Safety items, generators, reminder, keep them outdoors, not in your home, not in your garage. In your home, in your garage, the fumes can kill you and you won't know. You won't be able to smell or detect the fumes. Intersections, malfunctioning traffic lights should be treated as a four-way stop. Don't get anywhere around or touch down power lines. And again, just stay inside. Please, people, stay inside so you can protect you and your families. If you have any non-medical emergency, call 630-CITY and call 911 if there is a medical emergency. It's here. We knew it was coming, and we are prepared. So everybody be safe. And with that, I'll turn it over to Angie.
Okay, thank you, sir. Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Angie Agnetti, and I'm the incident meteorologist with the National Weather Service deployed here at the EOC to help see us through Irma and her impacts. As the mayor said, we are experiencing the outer rain bands of Irma now across northeast Florida and starting to rotate up into southeast Georgia as well. Our main headlines continue: hurricane warnings in effect. We have that storm surge warning in effect along the coast, and we have bumped up the magnitude of the storm surge up to 3 to 5 feet along the immediate coastline, so that's been a little bit of a change, and still up to 3 feet along portions of the St. Johns River. We did reach minor flooding thresholds this afternoon with high tide at Main Street at Mayport, and we'll just continue to see those water levels rise. Tonight, high tide along the coast and along the river will be between midnight and 2 a.m., so anticipate us reaching moderate to major potentially at that time frame. We continue to have a tornado watch in effect, and that means with these rain bands coming on shore, they will have the potential to produce quick, short-lived, but damaging tornadoes. So with the watch in effect, we need to be alert for tornado warnings. And if you hear the tornado warning's been issued and you're in the path of that warned storm, you need to seek shelter within shelter. So put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And we continue to have a flash flood watch in effect, and where we see locally heavy rainfall, which has been occurring across parts of town, stand by for a flood warning. At 5 p.m., Irma did make landfall near Marco Island as a Category 3 storm. And the storm is continuing to move northward with an increase in forward speed expected, as well as a gradual decrease in magnitude. By tomorrow morning, we're expecting the storm to make landfall near the Gulf Coast region as a Category 1, maybe a Category 2 storm. But what's unique, even though the center of it is well to the west of our metro area, the wind field is large. Okay, it expands out about 200 miles on the east side of the storm, and that wind field is just moving its way up the Florida peninsula. So as the mayor said, we are anticipating sustained tropical storm force winds. Those are 40 to 60 miles an hour across the entire county, across much of northeast Florida to that fact, with gusts up to 70 miles an hour for an extended duration. And we're looking for that peak to occur between midnight and noon Monday. This afternoon, we're starting to see those gusts already in the upper 30s and gusting up to, at times, near in the low 50s. So we are seeing a ramp up in our wind speeds, and we're starting to get observations near sustained 40 miles an hour. So I anticipate a continued increase in the wind magnitudes this evening, especially after 8 o'clock tonight. So please stay in your safe shelter locations and continue to heed the advice of local emergency management.
Sheriff.
So just a couple of quick points to follow up on what the mayor said. We should be in our homes at this point, no traveling around the roadways, and we are continually monitoring the bridge situation. So as Angie mentioned, we're starting to see gusts now approaching that 40 to 50 miles an hour, and obviously we're monitoring the bridges minute by minute. As soon as we get sustained winds on the bridges of 40 miles an hour, we will close those bridges and we will let you know that the bridges are closed. Once we close them, we do not anticipate opening them back up again until the storm has passed. So again, when we close these bridges, it'll be about 12 hours that they'll be closed or more. So, stay tuned to obviously local media. We will put stuff out on social media, mainly Twitter, some on Facebook, to let people know the status of the bridges. But we're monitoring that, and as soon as, again, we, in conjunction with the beaches law enforcement and the beaches government down there, we make that decision, we will push that information out so everybody knows. Thanks.
And I would just remind people to have your batteries loaded in your radios in the event that you lose power and you need access to information. With that, we'll take any questions.
Sure. Do you expect your men and women to be able to be out in the field through the entire storm? I
do not. So there will be a period of time where we will have to pull. We've got pre-designated areas all over town. So we mentioned the intercoastal bridges a lot. There are JSO officers as well as the beaches law enforcement still at the beach. So that was a question that came up earlier. We are not withdrawing from the beaches. We're just closing the bridges. But they're all over city. We have pre-designated shelter-in-place areas for officers to basically hunker down and ride out the worst of the storm. As we do that, though, again, we're going to monitor that minute by minute. And as soon as we can get people back out responding to calls, we still encourage people to call us if you need us. Maybe a little while before we get there, but we will continue to roll those out. And again, watch minute by minute and get back on the street handling those calls for service as quickly as we can.
Mayor, it sounded like you drove around town today and you saw some flooding.
Yeah, I mean, you have high water levels already, and the nor'easter, which this would have been a storm event, I'm told by the experts, without Irma. So it's just going to be exasperated as what we see happening between 8 p.m. midnight and then midnight on.
What parts of town did you go to?
Well, I live in San Marco, so just traveling this way before I came, I wanted to check it out, and you can already see some areas, and it's what was predicted.
Mayor, are any of the shelters at or near capacity at this moment?
The Legends is full. The others all have capacity.
Mayor, on that, we've been getting some reports from some listeners that they're under the impression that they would be turned away from a shelter if they don't have a proper ID. I think your office has been pretty clear about that, but could you clarify for anyone else who has any questions about what they need to bring with them to a shelter?
We're not going to turn people away from a shelter. Their safety is the most important thing to me and to city officials. We would like them to bring the resources they have: a pillow, blankets, food, water. If they don't have resources, we're going to take care of them.
Sheriff Williams, what is going to be the process when you decide to shut those bridges down? How much advance warning will be given? How will people know?
So the warning is now that the bridges will be shutting down. So that's the advance notice that it's going to happen. As we continue to monitor that, again, as soon as those winds are sustained long enough, for us to believe that they're not going to subside, we will close the bridges down. When we close those bridges down, there'll be, if someone is on the road, there'll be a detour. All that will get set up. Obviously, we won't let you just dead into a police car. There'll be a detour before you approach the bridge to get you back to where you were coming from. So, I would anticipate, again, as Angie mentioned, the next few hours are going to be critical, and I would guess that the bridges start to come offline again sometime, this evening. So, anticipate that. But this is the warning that the bridges will be closing in Jacksonville sometime this evening.
Sheriff, is there currently a SWAT call out?
There is currently a SWAT call out. And I don't have any additional information on that. We have resources obviously dedicated to that. And they're working that as they normally do with the challenges of the weather. But I don't have an update for you right now.
Mayor, are you noticing any public works issues early on in the storm, like drainage issues or anything like that?
I mean, there's going to be issues. This is a nature event, a serious and a significant one. But what I can tell you is that we have our public works department, our workers have been leading up to this, and even through just recently out clearing things, picking things up as reported to us. The men and women in that department are working hard. and are being led, and will continue after we get through this storm. That reminds me, there will be, as a reminder, there's no garbage service tomorrow. If your normal garbage pickup was tomorrow's Monday, it'll be pushed to Tuesday, and then each day thereafter, you just move back a day.
What parts of town are you expecting the worst flooding?
Angie, I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, no problem. The usual spots for sure. Those areas are going to include San Marco, as the mayor mentioned earlier. We're already seeing problems there. Riverside, especially, as well as parts of downtown. And that's due to not only a surge on the river of about 3 feet, but also heavy rainfall potential and flooding that's going to happen. So we've already had areas across the county itself 3 to 5 inches today. We're expecting an additional 10 to 15 inches possibly, which is just going to exacerbate. So anywhere that's already poor drainage, that's near a waterway such as the St. John's or any tributaries, and even out towards the coast, Hopkins Creek area, we're anticipating some significant flooding problems, and that's due to a combination of both surge, but also what we call freshwater rainfall, or just the rain that's going to be falling from the sky, because it's going to be a lot. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? We will get you some information shortly. We will likely give you a live update during the storm sometime tomorrow morning, and we'll get that to everybody shortly so you can all plan accordingly. And then I would just remind people, Nate, I think you tweeted out a picture today of JEA workers, and yesterday the sheriff and I were with Public Works, JSO, JFRD, JEA, all these folks. The people of Jacksonville need to know there's a lot of men and women that are going to work on your behalf. They're going to go out and do hard work, and some of them are going to be in harm's way, and we're grateful for them. And I commit to the people of Jacksonville that I'm praying for the city and I'm praying for you. Take care of your families and think about and pray about those that are putting it on the line for us right now. Thank you.